Hello everyone. Welcome to Witches of the Moon, Season 13, Week 1. I am your new Tuesday hostess. My name is CORIANN, and I am very honored to be part of this group and to be asked to be your Tuesday hostess. So I hope that I can offer some different perspective and insight to some of the topics. I am a fairly new, if you will, new witch. I haven't been in my practice very long, almost 4 years now. My sister has been in the practice much longer than I, as well as my cousin. But as most of you will probably relate to, we've been probably doing doing our practice a lot longer than what we'd like to admit or what we acknowledged as we were younger or what have you. Some of us found our path much later in life. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm kind of giving a new perspective, kind of that new witch perspective a little bit. And I hope that you will find it to be beneficial and edifying, and that I can bring something really positive to the group. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you again for having me as your new Tuesday hostess. Our topic for this week is 13 things I love about being a witch. So let's get started. I think it's really kind of cool because you kind of get a little bit of get to know each of us a little bit through these questions, or this topic. One of the things that I really enjoy about my path and my spiritual journey is, I think the first thing is the freedom. I love the freedom that my path offers. Having grown up in a very staunch Christian home, where we had church in our house, and if you were sick, you sat on the back of the couch in the back of the room, and you just toughed through it. We had a very strict upbringing in the Christian church. So my pagan path has afforded me the freedom to explore, to have a better understanding and a better appreciation for diversity, and understanding that it's okay if you're Christian. That's your path. That is perfectly okay. And I'm fine with that. I respect that, as long as you respect my path and my choices and my spirituality. So again, I like that freedom. I like being able to explore my higher self, who I really am in every aspect of my being, not just necessarily maybe a feminine being. I can explore some of my more masculine traits and things like that. And I like exploring my abilities. So that freedom to be able to do all of that is something that I enjoy, that I really like. The other thing that another thing that I really like, my second thing that I like, is the empowerment, the strength, the control, and the accountability that comes with being in the path and being a witch. You're empowered to be who you are, to not be apologetic, to not try to hide. Well, I guess we've had to hide for a while, but it's become more, being a witch is not such a bad word anymore. In fact, it's kind of pseudo nouveau, what's the word? Faddish. I hate to say that, but for some people that's the way it is. But those aren't your true pagans. But what that has done is allowed those of us that that this is our spiritual path, that this is our practice, this is our livelihood, this is the way we live, it's afforded us a little more acceptance in mainstream or social America, the world, being in social groups and things like that. We're not as frightening, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know. My boss is scared to death of me, and I keep trying to assure her there's no reason to be. But you know, I guess the empowerment of being able to be who we are and not be apologetic about it. The strength that comes from recognizing your power and understanding that you have a power that is goddess and God-given, that we are part of them, and therefore we are their children, and they want us just as we want our children to be better than we are, or as, you know, to achieve what we've achieved. I believe the goddess and the God want that for us. The Lord and Lady want that for us as their children. So that's another thing that I really enjoy, the control, having control of my life and accountability. I can't blame somebody or something else on my own poor decisions. And I don't accept that from others. I don't. If I make a bad decision, if I do something wrong, I have no one to blame but myself. I can't say the devil made me do it, or, you know, I sinned or whatever. I don't believe in those things. I don't believe in the devil per se, not in the Christian sense. I don't believe in sin. I believe in poor decisions. I believe in having darkness sometimes, if you will, but in order to, sometimes we have to explore that darkness to appreciate the light. Just as there's a night, there's a day, vice versa. So that kind of leads me into the third thing that I really appreciate about my path, and that I like about being a witch, is balance. I finally have balance in my life. In Christianity and in other religions, not just Christians. I'm not trying to bash Christians. I'm not. Just speaking from my personal experience, having grown up in the church. There was a lot of things that were contradictory, a lot of things that didn't add up. Why do women have to be so subservient? Why did women have to stay silent? Why did women have to be hushed, basically? And even in the Bible, it doesn't even say that. It doesn't. At least in the church that I grew up in Church of Christ. And just in case you haven't connected the dots yet, and I guess because we don't have our last names, but I am Natalie's sister, our Monday hostess. I am her sister, so we grew up with the stories she's told, that you guys have heard for many seasons. Yep, pretty much it, but the balance of being equal. I believe that in the Bible, if you read it, that there is a lot of disparity in how it's presented. I think that maybe a lot of the stories that are in the Bible are probably true in their basic form, but I think they've been manipulated to serve a purpose, a political purpose, to keep constituents under control, to keep a commonwealth under control, to have power or dominion over a group of people. And I don't think that's how it was intended. But again, going back to balance, I see in the pagan path that we as women have a little bit more balance, and it's almost, what's bad is it's almost tipped the other direction. And so I, for my personal path, try to make sure I maintain more of a balance of both masculine and feminine energies. I think that's required. I think that's needed. At least it is from my path and from my journey, that I need that balance because it's been missing for so long, and I don't want to tip the scales the other direction too far. I want the balance. But I like being empowered as a woman. I like the fact that it's a-okay to be a crone, which I am now in my crone years. I'm phasing out of my mother years and into my crone years, and not kicking and screaming. I'm embracing it. So I don't think I'm too bad for a crone. And I've got 13 grandkids and more to come because my youngest son doesn't have any kids yet. So I like, again, that balance of being able to not be worried about that life is a balance, that you go through these phases and that you're going to have light and dark. You're going to have positive and negative. You're going to have good and bad. You're going to have those, masculine and feminine, and that's good. That's what's needed, and I think that's what we're lacking a lot of in our society and in our generations, in our and in our spiritual world, if you will, religious world. It's lacking the balance, and it's suffering because of it. It's showing, and unfortunately, because mainstream religion, if you will, has such a strong hold on our communities and our society, that we all suffer from that imbalance. And it's really, we're seeing turmoil, and people think, that's prophesied in the Bible. This is the Bible coming true. The world's coming to an end. You got to, better get yourself right with the Lord, or whatever. Well, me personally, I'm right with my Lord. Thank you very much. And what we've done is, it's not so much, we've created a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will, because we're not in balance. But that's what I like about my spiritual path, is that I feel like I'm more in balance. I have a greater peace, that it's okay to have that dark side of me, that it's okay to be angry as long as I understand it. I deal with it, and understand there's repercussions and there's benefits to everything. So again, there goes that accountability. So if I'm going to allow myself to enter into that that darkness, or that negative energy, or that lower vibration, however you want to apply it, then I know that there's going to be benefits and there's going to be consequences, just as there are with everything. That balance. The other thing I really enjoy about my witchiness and being a witch is the community. I don't know if it's because I'm just so new to the path still, or I haven't really been out there, so to speak, putting myself out there a whole lot, because even though I've been in my path about 4 years, I just came out of the broom closet about a year ago, maybe not even that long ago. So that was a bit interesting. I came out of the broom closet, but on social media, my parents were still not quite aware of it, and my ex decided he was going to help that along and kind of out me to my parents, especially my mother. And my mother and I share a very close relationship. I've been very, very blessed to have that relationship with her. Um, we've had our tumultuous times, a lot of them. Well, yeah, a fair amount. But I think the beauty of it is it kind of, because I did have that closeness with her, I was able to kind of help her see a different perspective regarding the path, and which has helped both me and my sister, because my sister was, you know, my mother saw her as the witch, and so she's sinning and she's going to hell, and you know, what have you. But I think because I have a way of talking to her that she can kind of understand and maybe not necessarily agree with, but respect. It's afforded respect for both of us. But going back to community, sorry, I digress. Going back to the community part of it, while I was on the outs with my mom, I did find, and I do find, a lot of people who are extremely supportive. Kind of found my tribe, if you will, another whole family, basically, of people that, you know, brothers and sisters that I wasn't even aware of. You know, I had this whole witchy community in my area in San Antonio, where I live, that is just amazing. And I have a little shop that I opened up on a property where we're all magical people, all light workers, all witches or pagans or light workers or healers in some fashion. And so we're a very close-knit group, and it's so amazing to have those people. And then we have a whole group of clientele that come to the markets, that come to the property, you know, where we have these open markets, and we have all these people that come, and some of them are Christians, some of them are, you know, various religions. They're not all just pagan, and they come, but they embrace our pagan ways, and they have a little paganness in them themselves. You know, they are, you know, Christian. Some of them are. I've met a couple of Christian witches, and I understand that completely. I can connect those dots. I know my sister has a little harder time with that, but I can get it. I do. You know, because me personally, I see Christ as an ascended master. I think he was a witch, and you know, it got twisted in the translation of the Bible, that and they took his witchiness away, if you will. That's just my personal opinion, by the way. Don't expect anybody else to share that, but that's my personal opinion. If you read the Bible again and kind of look at it, you're like, oh yeah, he was doing some witchy stuff, you know. So, but I love the community that I've found, both here in San Antonio and on Facebook, YouTube. You know, it's amazing how many of us there are, if you will, and people that I've worked with for a couple of years and had no clue, and then when they started seeing me with, you know, some of my witchy things, you know, wearing my pentacles, or you know, or you know, oh, this is so pretty. I have to show this off to my sister. Well, my brother-in-law and my sister gave this to me, so, but I wear it proudly to work, you know, and stuff like that. And then people are like, oh, you know, they start talking to you. It's kind of cool. And you didn't realize that here you are, you know, working with people of like mind. And it's really kind of cool. So that community is something I really enjoy. I like the fact, this is number 5. I know I need to probably move this along a little bit. Number 5 is, I like standing with my goddess and my god, or goddesses and gods, and not kneeling before them. I don't feel intimidated by my deities. I don't feel like I have to bow down before them, so to speak. Not that I don't give them reverence. It's not that. I do pay them reverence and due diligence, but I don't feel like I have to get on my knees to do it. That they want me to stand with them, that they want me to stand upright and be strong and be like them, that I am in my own right a goddess in the making. You know, it's my life journey, my lives, and those journeys that I'm taking throughout my lives that are building me to my ascended highest self, that will allow me to reach that level, to where I'm with my goddess and my god, or goddesses and gods. I like that part of it too. I don't have just a god that I have to rely on. I have, and I, you know, of course, I believe the ultimate supreme being, whatever, ultimate power. These are aspects of, just as we have many aspects of ourselves, you are made in the likeness of our God and Goddess. There's many aspects, however you want to, you know, interpret it. But I like the fact that I don't have to kneel down, that I don't have to feel afraid of my God or my Goddess, that I feel empowered, and not afraid of. And I feel like that kind of leads to the next thing, that I feel like I can, that I have, you know, I have more than one God or Goddess, to help guide me, to protect me, to help me, that I can call on. I have my primary deities. I tend to follow, I kind of thought it was an odd combination, but I've come to find out they're very similar, very close. I tend to follow more of a shamanistic path, Native American, embracing my Native American heritage, and an Egyptian path, because I've found that that is where I began my path, my lives basically, was in Egypt. So I very much relate to the goddess Bast, who is my deity. I love her beyond words. She has guided me and has helped me so much, and has all my life. Didn't even realize it. But having her there, and then having Horus, my god, my primary god deity, to guide me and show me the things I need to see. But then I have other gods and goddesses. I have been guided by, you know, of course, Sekhmet, when there's, you know, when I really need to go to battle. I have embraced CORIANN. I have embraced and been guided by, I've been guided by several, to be honest, in various pantheons and histories and things like that. So I like that aspect. I like the fact that I can call on these deities to assist me through whatever I need that guidance or assistance through. And that's another thing I really appreciate about my path and about being a witch, is that I have that ability to call on these gods and goddesses to guide me and protect me and bring me knowledge, and happiness. I mean, Bast, she's a party animal. She's not afraid to let you know it either. So, and that's, you know, hey, you know, I enjoy that part of my life. I love that. I embrace it. So it's kind of fun. Another thing that I really like about my spiritual path and being a witch is the spiritual aspect of it. Again, going kind of back to the previous topic, was that I like being close to my god or goddess, my gods and my goddesses. I feel a connection with them that I never really felt with the Christian God. I was always afraid, that you should fear the Lord, yet He's supposed to love you, that you're supposed to have this love, but you're supposed to fear Him, and that He's jealous. He's a jealous God, and my gods aren't jealous. My gods and goddesses are not jealous. That's another thing I love. My gods and goddesses are not jealous. They're fully willing to, say, please take over and help this child. She needs it. Help her here. She needs your help. This is not my specialty. This is yours. And they're not jealous. And that's amazing to me. That was quite the epiphany. And it still takes some getting used to. You're so programmed. You're so programmed that sometimes it's hard to remember those things. But I'm learning. It's kind of cool. Let's see. We are on number 8. Ability to help others on a higher level. I feel like I've always been one to want to help people, to offer, people tend to come to me for advice. My mom used to say, what do you've got, dear Abby on your forehead, or something. Why do people feel like they just can open up to you? They just ask you the strangest things, and they just feel like they can talk to you about the strangest things. And to me, it wasn't all that strange. I was just like, oh, okay, if it's strange, but to me, I felt good that I was able to talk to people. I mean, we would be in the grocery store standing in line or at the department store standing in line to check out, and whoever was in line with us just felt like they could just turn around and talk to me and ask me or tell me about what's going on in their life, or ask me for advice or whatever. My mom would just be flabbergasted. She's like, why do they always do that to you? Or, why do people always do that when you're, I don't know. Well, I know now. It's my vibration. I vibrate on that level, that people feel like they can open up to me, that they know I'm a healer, that I am a guide, that I can guide them. And I love being able to do that on a higher level than what I was doing in my Christian life. I could only go to a certain point because I was stifled. You can't do that because you're a female, and you can't do that because it's not Christian, and you can't tell somebody, so it's kind of cool that that I don't have those boundaries anymore. That ceiling is gone. So the ability to help others and on a higher level. Let's see. Number 9, my relationships with my ancestors and my guides. When people pass from this life, when they move on to the next life, it's a sad time. It is. But I don't find it as sad as I used to, because I know they're always going to be there, that they're right there with me, that I can call on them at any time, and I can talk with them, I can speak to them, and I can have that interaction and connection, and it's not going to be weird, or it's not going to be, strange or what have you. But I like being able to know that I have those guides, I have those my ancestors with me, that as people pass from this life and move into the next, they're not really gone. And they can offer wisdom that maybe they couldn't offer in this life. So that's another aspect that I like about being a witch. Number 10, control over my own destiny in my life. I like the fact that I have control. I'm not being controlled by prophecy necessarily. The prophecies are mine, now, and I know that it's just that, it's prophecy. I can control it. If I see something in my cards, if I see something in my runes, if I see something in my dreams, if I see something in the clouds, you know, I like clouds crying. So if I see something in the clouds or whatever, I know that if it's not positive, if it's not exactly what I want it to be, I have control. I can change it. I can change that energy. I can shift that energy. I can change that vibration. So I like that control. I like that power. Again, going back to empowerment, you know, I like having that ability. And I like having the ability to help others control their lives better, to shift their energy in a more favorable manner. Sometimes it takes time, especially if you've been in a certain energy field for a long time. If you've been in a negative energy field for a long time, it takes time to raise that vibration. It takes time to get out of that negative energy field and into a more positive one. But it can happen. I know I'm proof. Because, you know, we have a saying, my dad has a saying. My dad has a saying. And Adley will attest to this. Our dad, one of his favorite things is Murphy lives with us. Murphy's Law. You know, oh, Murphy's Law. Murphy lives with us. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and at the most inopportune moment. And we lived by that. We subscribed to that mentality, to that vibration, to that energy for I don't know how long. We thought it was you know, we had the Viner curse, you know, or whatever. But I know that I personally have learned, you know, my vibrations changed. I think Natalie's has to a degree. She's got some other factors involved that she's dealing with that kind of stagnate her energy, unfortunately. But speaking for myself, my energy has changed and my life has changed, and it's been markedly better. Is it perfect yet? Nope. Still got a lot of work to do. I'm still a young witch, so you know, there's still things I'm learning, but there's a lot. But that's the other thing I really like. There's a lot to learn. I'm a sponge. I like to learn. It's probably 14 now. There's going to be now, but you know. That right there, having control over my own destiny and my own life. Number 11, learning to evolve and develop my higher self. Learning about my higher self. That's been interesting. That's been quite the journey. A little scary at times, you know. It's like I wasn't quite ready to open up that third eye, you know, but it's there, and it's in the enlightenment. And of course, with that comes a lot of responsibility, especially when you start sharing that with other people or start utilizing that to assist other people. But I think, you know, being able to connect with my higher self, that is another really fantastic thing about being a witch. Number 12 would be having a greater understanding. I feel like I have a greater understanding of not only the universe and how things work and why they work the way they do. I have answers now that I did not have in my Christian spirituality. Things now make sense. I get it. It's like, okay, I understand that. That makes sense to me now. I get why that happens, or I get why this is this way or that way. Where with Christianity, I didn't have those answers. I have a much greater understanding of the universe and how things work and people, circumstances, whatever. Just a better understanding, and that affords me a certain peace of mind. And I think, and 13 would have to be, my 13th reason why I love being a witch is because of my relationship with my sister. Natalie and I haven't always been the closest. Growing up, we're 7 years apart, 6.5 years apart. and you know, we didn't always connect. And then when she started on her spiritual path, well, actually when she met her husband, um, you know, they moved away. They were living up near Dallas, and here we were in San Antonio, and we really lost touch for quite some time. And then when we did reconnect, we didn't, you know, I was still in that Christian mindset, and she was in her pagan path, and I was following my conditioning and my brainwashing, if you will, or traditions, teachings, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be disparaging to anybody who follows a Christian path. I really don't. It's just that you would have to understand our church growing up. Highly judgmental, and just, but I do have to say not all Christians are that way. I have especially one particular very close friend who is a Christian, but she understands pagan ways, and she's fine with the fact that I'm a pagan, and she embraces that, and she's given me some really cute gifts, both her and her husband. So not necessarily all Christians. I don't want to put that label necessarily on people, but again, my greatest happiness and my greatest appreciation, or my favorite thing about being a witch, is the fact that my sister and I have connected on such a higher level, and on we have such a great understanding of each other now, and that is truly, truly a gift. And I know she's going to be editing this video for me, so love you, Natalie. And those are my 13 things. So again, thank you very much for having me as your Tuesday hostess, and I look forward to sharing more with you.